So the Online Safety Act has come into force, and it has the potential to affect everyone that uses any form of social media in this country. And it's one of the most divisive pieces of legislation to have ever been created, as far as I can tell. Some have called it timid, and suggest it doesn't go far enough, funnily enough. Others are calling it draconian and a complete overreach of governmental powers, with a huge effect of curtailing legal free speech, and even legal free speech that some might claim to be harmful. So what is it? A very brief overview is that it was supposed to combat real issues in the digital online world, like child safety and illicit material that could be used for abuse purposes, fraud, terrorism, illegal material, etc., all the bad stuff. Noble in purpose, and we all agree that things have to be done about those issues, but it's been expanded, and it includes a range of things that are legal but that have been declared harmful, such as free speech that is actually legal. We had a taste of what was to come last year and early this year, with people commenting on the riots that were given jail time for things like Facebook posts. Now, a few people actually committed offences like incitement, but the majority did not. But the majority didn't, and their free speech was effectively curb stomped by the government. All online services covered by this law are affected, and not only would have to comply with notices to take down material that someone or something might deem to be offensive, but they face fines of up to 10% of their worldwide revenue. Yeah, that's worldwide, not even UK revenue. This will be a serious test of the transatlantic relationship, as both the Vice President and the President of the United States, they won't stand for this, and I don't imagine those in Silicon Valley and beyond will take to it kindly. It'll be interesting to see how it develops in the coming weeks, especially with two-tier care desperately trying to keep the Americans on side with a process to find peace in the Ukraine. Which brings us to why the online world is just not content creator safe anymore. Do not doubt that this law will be weaponized by people with agendas, be it personal or political, and a lot will be political, as obviously the left use these tactics. They try to destroy opposing opinions. And it'll be used to attack others with impunity, as it only really requires someone to make a complaint based on the fact that their feelings were hurt. I mean, this is the bar for a police complaint in the UK in 2025. More and more people are going to have their collars felt by Plod because of some hurty words on social media. Now, how on earth is this law supposed to be implemented? It's so vague and it's so full of holes. Who decides what is harmful? I mean, legal but harmful is a definition. It just seems like a ridiculous standard, and it needs to be scrapped with a clear definition in place, which I imagine there already is in a legal sense. Causing someone psychological distress is the term being used, so anyone can claim to be a victim in that case for any reason. Like, this nonsense will fill up the courts, taking time away from dealing with real crimes, real criminals, and real damage, real harm. Prison time of up to 2 years, apparently, is what you could get according to Section 10 of the Act. And it seems they don't need any real proof of intent or legal justification. If someone feels harmed, that's good enough to start prosecution. We already have to be very mindful of our language on sites like YouTube and not mention certain events and words, people, for fear of having a strike or a video taken down that goes against community guidelines. This is why, as a consumer of YouTube content, you have to understand the restrictions already facing people who upload videos on this site. People face the risk of having videos or even entire channels demonetized, and that threatens their living situation. And this will only be more and more prevalent. People will have to find new ways of communicating, so effectively having to use some kind of code language to make sure that the gist of what they've been saying is out there, but not as to fall foul of this new legal standard. It seems simply to have been designed as another mechanism to suppress speech that people hate. Your views are not welcomed by the liberal elite world order. But we already have laws in place to deal with almost all scenarios online. And tech companies, whilst yes, they could do more, allocate more money to take down generally bad, the really horrible content, they do know what is needed to be done. And this is just government trying to impose regulation on the tech giants to stifle and suppress the people that use them. If they were genuinely concerned about the effects of social media on kids, for example, maybe they could just simply require everyone to be aged 18 to be able to use it. All accounts could be verified by documentation, so minors wouldn't have access to them. And then if they did have access, parents really should be responsible for that access. I mean, granted, kids will find a way regardless, but the onus would then be on the people, not the state. The state just shouldn't have this kind of power. And by targeting the speech of adults, they're truly showing their intentions. It's simply just about control. Your speech might be acceptable now, but what if someone from some Quango, Ofcom, tomorrow decides it's not? I mean, it's been noted that obviously the normal TV channels, BBC, Channel 4, etc., they're all immune to this stuff, but small channels or YouTube channels could be vulnerable to sort of real devastation. If you disagree with people, you're hurt by words, scroll on, choose another video, don't use apps or sites. Develop some thicker skin. We've become a nation of professional victims, and some, mostly liberals, weaponize this language to attack people who are more traditional in their approach to life. And think about this. Whilst we're using time, money, resources for absurdities like this, we don't spend the same resources on building our army to protect us from threats like Russia, or deport the people who shouldn't be here, or tackle poverty, knife crime, homelessness. The skills shortages that prevent us from getting people back into real jobs. No, we don't do that. We go after grandmother's posts on Facebook or hurty words on X. We are on a path to that Orwellian 1984 society, and we have been for more than a decade now, and most people are sleepwalking into it, and they need to wake up.